Hello and welcome to tonight's IBL matchup between the Snohomish County Explosion and the Bellingham Slam. Good evening, Jay Tuss from the Monroe Sports Arena. And these two teams met up just a couple weeks ago with the Explosion coming out victorious 116 to 106. The Explosion used a 14-1 run late in that ball game to seal the deal as Jamal Miller, Chris Weekly, and Donald Watts combined to score 88 of the team's 116 points. Also in that game, a sense of the making of a Northwest rivalry. The teams shot a combined 83 free throw attempts, with the deciding factor in that game being the fact that the Explosion shot 83% from the charity stripe, while for the Slam, not so charitable, just 66%. Earlier tonight, we caught up with Coach Randy Redwine to talk about the making of this rivalry, as well as the early season success of shooting guard Chris Weekly. All right, Coach, last time you two teams met up, 83 free throws combined. It was a pretty physical game. The making of a Northwest rivalry?
I think so. I think it's going to be the same way tonight. It's going to be very physical, very aggressive, and I can guarantee you this, we're not going to back down, so we're going to see who's going to back down from this one.
All right, somebody that didn't back down last game, Chris Weekly, 22 points. Talk about his early season success, shooting over 50% from behind the arc. That's much better from his percentage last season, but off to a good start overall.
Chris is a veteran player. He comes to play every night, and he did a lot of work in the off season, and it's paying off for him early. And I was really surprised and thrilled that he's having the success he's having so soon in the season, But Chris is a shooter.
I don't know if you saw this by looking at the scorecard last time, but Weekly as well as Miller and Watts combined to score 88 of your team's 116 points last game versus the Slam.
Oh, I saw it. Trust me, I did.
More of it tonight?
More of it tonight.
Stick around to see if Chris Weekly can continue his hot hand and if the Explosion can run their record to 2-0 against their division opponent in the Slam. Lineups coming up after the break. Tip-off just moments away. Welcome back to the Monroe Sports Arena. Moments away from tip-off. We have tonight's starting lineups for you for the away team, the Bellingham Slam. Starting in the backcourt for them, number 23, point guard Ryan Diggs out of Western Washington. Last time, a couple weeks ago, versus the Explosion, he had 20 points, tied a team high. Another person that had 20, joining him in the backcourt, Jacob Stevenson. He's a 6'4" guard out of Western Washington. Their leading returning scorer from last season averaged almost 21.5 points a game. A 3-guard lineup for the Slam, Paul Hafford, number 7, out of Portland State, joining those two. And then to the front court, number 3, Errol Knight, a 6'7" wingman out of Gonzaga, an athletic guy. Saw him get up a few times last time they took on the Explosion. And then the big man up front, Yogi. Number 55, Brian Dennis. He's a load to deal with, the 6'6", 295. One of 3 guys in the starting lineup for the Slam out of Western Washington. Over to the hometown team, the Explosion, in the backcourt. At point guard, number 1, Jamal Miller. He had a career-high 35 points last game versus the Slam. 12 of 13 from the free throw stripe. Also had his first double-double of the season. 12 rebounds to go along with that. His partner in crime again in the backcourt, number 23, Donald Watts. He had 31 of his own on 11 of 12 shooting from the free throw line, that is, last time versus the Slam. A 3-guard lineup also being implemented by head coach Randy Redwine. Kyle Keys getting the start tonight, coming off missing last week from a back injury. And then to the front court, number 11, Justin James, struggled last time versus Slam, got into foul trouble early. We'll see how he responds. And then the big man, number 55, David White, up front. The Explosion are led by head coach Randy Redwine in his second season at the helm. He's 20-5 over those 2 years. Joining him is assistant head coach Michael Moss in his second year. And then it's first year assistant coach Dwight Edwards. For the Slam, their head coach Rob Rittenauer, yes, a familiar name for the Northwest natives that are listening. His son, point guard for the Seattle Supersonics, Luke Rittenauer. And then joining him on the bench as well, Mike Elsner. He's an assistant coach as well as the owner. Explosion and Slam breaking their team huddles. It's going to be the Explosion donning their home whites. And the Slam sporting new digs tonight from the last time you saw them. They got their new IBL jerseys in this week. They're in the baby blue. At center court, it's going to be David White there for the Explosion. He'll join Brian Dennis. About a 5-inch advantage here in favor of the Explosion as we get set for tip. Explosion They'll be shooting at the goal to the right. And they win the tip. Jamal Miller, he'll throw it out to the top of the key with Kyle Keys now. Keys and Miller in the backcourt together, both of them good ball handlers. An advantage for Randy Redwine and the Explosion, having two good guys that can distribute the ball in the lineup tonight. Donald Miller pops quick from three. He gets on the board early. Watts struggled last game, just 4 of 18 from the field. Getting on the board early though. He had 31 last time these two teams met. Pass back out, number 22 Jacobson up fakes, it goes up, loose ball. David White comes up with it, turnover. Explosion up over half court with it now. Watts has it, gonna center it down low to James. He faces Hafford there in the post, goes up with it, foul goes against Hafford. In the act of shooting, I do believe, and James is gonna get a chance to go to the free throw line. 3-0 Explosion lead, not quite a minute into this one. Again, 2 weeks ago, these two teams met up with the Explosion coming away with a 116-106 victory. A physical contest, though, as we talked about in the pregame, 83 free throw attempts by both teams. And we're back to the charity stripe already tonight. James good on his first free throw attempt. Mentioned once again, James got into foul trouble last time. Played 22 minutes, only managed 3 points and 3 rebounds after that game. Coach Randy Redwine said that he had a talk with him, just talked about where his focus is at on the court. He responded last week by scoring 22 points, also pulled down 6 rebounds. Tonight gets 2 points here in the early going. That's Jacob Stevenson, he hands it off. Knight has it, Knight gonna pop straight away, misses badly, short ball goes out of bounds, another turnover, back-to-back turnovers by the Slam. Both teams did a good job of taking care of the ball last time, however the Slam sloppy here in the early going. That's James with it now, guarded by Hafford. He hands it off, swing it around, top of the key, bounce pass down low, spin move, baseline. Nice pass there from Watts into the lane. James can't get the layup to go, and Hafford rips down the rebound. Diggs up with it now, the point guard, ball distributor for the Slam, throws it down in the post. Stevenson gonna back it down on Keys. Little size advantage there though, however he misses. And pushing are the Explosion, pops from 50.